Hey everyone, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Haven Cottage Event Center, okay? It is opening in spring. That is right around the corner. And that is a perfect time to host any kind of small to medium-sized occasions. What do you want? Business? Receptions? Art? Whatever it is, just call, send an email, and I bet your event is going to be approved. The phone number and email is all in the description down below. Haven Cottage Event Center. Enjoy the high notes of life the right way.
One more podcast. It is time for another one. One more podcast.
I mean, we've been kind of at a lull with the comedians / famous people.
So far, yeah.
So,
but I mean, now it's on the table, right? Anybody who's
sure.
can.
And you're gonna have a bunch of people trying to step in front of it and stuff like that. Because there was, I forget, there was one actor or something like that I was trying to step in front of all of it before anything got out. So
he came out and said, "Hey, this is what happened.
Yeah, this is blah blah blah." Made passes at the women and stuff like that, and then but I don't know.
Was it better to come forward first? Like, your career is going to be ruined anyway, right?
No, not at all. Because
what are you talking about?
You have, if you're the first one to break the story, then you can mold the perspective in any way that you want. So, sure, let's say, okay, all right, Blake, you've murdered 3 people
in the Midwest. Yeah,
in the Midwest. You were high on cocaine, and you'd recently done heroin.
Oh, for sure.
And you just pounded 7 shots of vodka.
Okay.
Because
all of those.
This is who you are.
Yes.
And so then you make the very wise decision to get into a car and drive. Because you figure you're okay. You've been on meth and driven home before, so
now I'm doing meth too.
Well, not now.
Oh,
not previously.
But I have, so I know what's going on.
Because we have to set the realism here. So obviously, just Blake now is not going to just do heroin and stuff like that. So you obviously have to have had done meth
in order
kind of
to
lead
the gateway drug known as meth into heroin.
Exactly. Okay. I mean, you don't think you're brave enough to smoke weed, but like, you're
yes.
willing to take the risk for the others.
Sure, I like the thrill.
Anyways, so we've set up your character. Like, you're this shady person, just, you don't have a lot going for you, and so you're just kind of making it day to day. You get paid, and then you spend half of it on your bills, and then the half of it on drugs. That's you.
Okay.
All right. So back to this night. So you get
in the car, and I'm driving.
And you start driving down the road. It's like a freeway or something. So, you're probably
2-lane highway, something like that.
Something like that.
It's Midwest, so.
Exactly. And it's like 2 or 3 in the morning. So obviously not like a lot of traffic, but you have a passer goer every now and then.
Sure.
Okay. So you're driving, you're doing one hand, 2 hands. I don't know how you're feeling because you're the one who's high on these drugs.
Sure.
And so you decide to turn the radio on.
What song is on there?
Kiss. All right, and we're gonna do what is it?
I want to rock and roll all night.
Exactly. And so you're vibing with this song
because
you want to rock and roll
all night
and every day. So you're pumping your fists, and then now you're 2 pumping, and
no hands on the wheels.
No hands on the wheels. You're not paying attention at all because you're just so into this song.
God damn it.
That your car swerves off the road. You're losing control, and at this point you're shocked because the car is in your state. You think that the car is having a mind of its own. It's now sentient, and it says, Blake,
fuck you, Blake.
I want to get off of this road. And you're like totally agreeing with this car because you have no control because your hands are in the air.
Right.
So you go and you drive off the side of the road.
Okay.
And who would have guessed? Little Bobby, his little friend Susie, and the babysitter who's after a very, very fun night at the pool, and they got ice cream. They're walking home.
And I ruined it.
Granted, it's a little late, but the babysitter called the parents and said, hey, I'm going to take them. Everything's up to... So you just cram right into them. Bobby flies in the air.
Oh my god!
Little Susie gets run over by a tire, and Jenny, the babysitter, gets split in half because you wanted like a cow trough in front of your car, and so you had like the thing.
I have a cow trough.
Yeah,
the cow horns. You mean?
No.
The Longhorns.
No. What's the thing that cow catcher? Are those the things where you have It's like a thing that you put in front of your car.
Yeah. Okay, go.
Or I think you
All right, it's split. Regardless, Jenny's in half.
Exactly.
2 Jennies.
Exactly. This happened 17 years ago.
Okay.
All right.
And no one found out about it.
No, you called,
statute of limitations are beyond. I'm good.
Exactly. And you've called the right people, and you've called, this mess has been cleaned up, okay? Mm-hmm. People were paid off, got hush money. Bobby was like instant. All the deaths were instant, So no pain, you continue your life, all right? Obviously, the family and the babysitter's family, very tragic, very sad. They personally hate you.
But they've got my millions of dollars.
Exactly. They've signed a NDA, and you've tried to make amends. They appreciate your efforts, but they still hate you because you killed their children.
I completely understand.
Totally, but you've given them millions of dollars.
Right.
17 years later, all right, you're doing your thing. You're living your life. Probably, let's say, 9 years ago, you had a stroke of luck, and you were called in to be some huge role in some movie or something like that. All right.
Okay.
So it was this 80s movie about.
Oh my god, you're making the story so much worse on me.
You got called to play the main character who has to deal with his interest in water, and he's a swimmer, okay, but his dad doesn't want him to be a swimmer, so it's a kind of one of those triumph stories. Man. And like Blake, you have to like go fully shaved everything because you have to keep that swimmer's body, and you have to like lose 300 pounds because at this point the guilt of killing those kids
has made me overeat.
Exactly.
My new addiction is eating now.
Exactly. So you have to lose all that weight, and so you changed yourself. You've gone through this whole reformation for your personal life and struggles. So this role essentially saved you, just like this kid was saved by swimming. Right?
Oh, I can relate. Yeah.
So, again, 9 years later, very successful. You've spun off 7 sequels of this movie. You've, racking in the dough, a lot of influence. You are a notable person. When someone hears the name Blake, they're like, oh, Swimmer Boy! I loved him in Swimmer Boy 7. Oh, no, I actually liked him in Swimmer Boy 4. That debate comes up all the time. Exactly. And, you'll be eating at a restaurant.
People are like, hey, do you mind doing the breaststroke for me real quick?
Oh, you did it just like in the movie. Oh.
Yeah, you guys have a good one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so,
can you sign my Speedo kind of thing?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. You even go visit local pools and swim teams and stuff, and you give them the motivational
Me and Michael Phelps are like that.
He was actually a character reference for that movie, to make sure it's very authentic because swimming is very hard.
Distinctive.
Exactly.
Very specific.
Because people can tell if it's fake. So you need some kind of
It's swimming.
Exactly.
Come on.
You need some kind of reference. So, and yes, your entire life has been saved by this movie, and now 9 years later, Kevin Spacey and Louis C.K. they're getting called out, and their horribleness is getting blown out of water. All right, I think you should step up in front of it because then you control the story. You can paint the narrative. You can say you have all of the power to get ahead of it and paint yourself as not necessarily the victim, but make it so that people understand what came from all of this, why you were doing drugs, blah, 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 whatever. And if you can get in front of it, then you can control the story. Whereas if Sally Jo Swanson of MBS 47 News Channel
talks to Jenny's family.
Exactly. And she's like, oh, this is such a scoop. We're going to blow this guy out of the water. Then you're screwed because then they're all when Joe Schmo opens the article on his iPad, he's like, wow, this Blake guy is a butt. I'm going to veto the Swim Boy 10 because I can't support this person. Whereas if you have it a different way, it's like, man, I understand what he went through, but he's gone through so much. He's making a Swim Boy 10. I'm so proud of all the work that he's done. And then, hey, even then, donate money to charity. Say we're gonna
open up swim schools called Jenny, Billy, and Susie.
Exactly. Or just give money to homeless people. I don't know, whichever is better.
Sure.
Right. So doesn't that sound like better?
Oh, we're still talking about this. Okay, yeah. Yeah, sure. But okay. That's a little different than touching 14-year-old boys.
Well, okay, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay, no, hold on. I think murder is still like way worse.
I agree. Yes.
On the spectrum.
Legally,
it's bad.
it's horrible. Legally, it's worse than.
I wouldn't even say legally. I'd say
well,
ethically.
Well, no, in a legal sense.
I'd say ethically, morally. Like, I think murder is way worse than. Yes, I understand. Like, don't get me wrong. Here's the spectrum. The middle is like, you see a homeless guy and he's begging for change, and you look the other way. That's, it's very ambiguous because it's like, okay, well, you don't know his life, you don't know what he's using the money for, so you can argue 50-50 either way. And then, like, over here is, like, petting a dog, and then, like, over here is, like, donating money or something, all right?
Okay.
It's the good spectrum. So, like, here, okay, so here's the middle, there's the good spectrum. The bad spectrum goes way worse. So, all the way, like, out here.
You got murder.
Here's murder and, like, touching kids. I just think it's still way, way out there. It's horrible, horrible. I still think murder, though, is worse.
Yeah. I would agree with you on that.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you were saying that you think
no, but
kids
at least
is
in
worse.
today's society, we've become desensitized to my hypothetical murder situation because it was accidental. It was accidental.
Oh,
I was
okay.
fucked up. I was
Yeah.
in a rough patch of
Right.
life, and it was a horrible mistake that I made.
Okay.
It's a lot better than me purposefully trying to
So then,
touch a kid.
no, I understand, and that makes sense. The way you explained it makes sense. So what if you were sober in this instance? What if it was just total negligence? Like, obviously, if you were not texting or something like that, then little Susie and Bobby could have grown up to go to college and become
But it's
doctors
still
and have,
accidental.
like,
It's still I didn't try to run over those people. That's why I wouldn't get charged for murder. I'd be charged with vehicular manslaughter.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So,
but if let's all right, fine. Let's paint this picture.
Okay.
Blake is on black tar heroin,
Yes.
cocaine, and 9 shots of vodka.
yes,
And he
actually,
purposely
we'll do rum this time.
rum.
9
Okay.
shots of rum.
All right, fine. And he
Thank
walks up to a homeless dude that's asking for money,
Mhm.
and I beat the shit out of him.
That's bad.
My beating is so bad that it kills him. Okay, so it's murder.
Okay.
It's murder, right? Now what's
Ooh,
worse?
Hold on.
Now
okay.
what's worse?
Okay, hold on. I feel really bad for asking this, but like I'm trying to rationalize what you've just done. Why did you beat this man up? Was it just did he owe
He
you
touched
money?
me and I thought he was gross and disgusting. Yep.
See, again, that's like moral ambiguity because I mean,
How?
because I don't know.
I
Because,
think he's gross, so I beat the shit
well,
out
if
of
he
him.
physically touched you and it like made you, feel certain things that you didn't like feeling,
What if he didn't? Fine, he didn't touch me.
Okay.
He asked me for money, and I caught a whiff of whatever
his smell or something.
Yeah, and I just
he pooped his pants and you were
yeah,
like,
and I
that's
beat
disgusting.
the shit out of him. Yeah,
Okay, then
and I killed him.
that's
What's worse?
wait. So in this instance, do you think touching kids is worse or moral?
Well,
beating
I
someone to
think
death?
if you took out substance abuse,
Mm-hmm.
it's always worse.
Touching
Because-
kids is always worse.
Well, let's take out substance abuse,
Sure.
then I think murder is worse. But if you add in substance,
Okay, then
you
it
can,
flips.
It flips. Yeah.
I don't know. I just because it's like for me personally to have taken a life from this planet, to have gone the extra step and permanently made a change in the course of history.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just way horrible. And whether it's indirectly or purposefully, I just think it's bad.
Yeah.
And
I'm not disagreeing with
Oh
you.
no! Oh, obviously, Blake, you're trying to say it's good. Like petting a dog is worse than no.
Sure.
I don't know. It's just it's strange there because it's like okay, so let's talk about punishment. So someone who diddled a kid will go to jail for like 15 years, 20. I don't know.
It depends.
Sure. Okay. So he diddled a kid, and they went on trial, and then he seems like a nice guy. And so based on the facts and stuff like that, he wasn't given the full sentence. He wasn't given the minimum sentence. He was right in the middle. So it's like 10 years. Does that sound fair?
Let's go 15.
15 years. Okay. So 15 years. This guy's,
Let's assume he makes it out of prison.
right. Okay. So, but like even then, I would say probably he was in his late 20s, early 30s. Okay. So even then, out of prison, he still has life to live.
20, 30 years left. Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's not like he's some 50-year-old and then you put him away and then it's like he comes back and now, he's on the social welfare or whatever. But anyways, so him being back on the streets versus a murderer, I think the punishment's different because if you do murder, isn't that longer or shorter than diddling children?
It's longer.
Okay, right. So you're going to be put in jail longer. I'm sure there is because I think the difference between murder and diddle is the mindset. And so if you're a murderer and you can narrow it down to a few reasons why. Why did you murder someone? Anger, total just uncontrolled anger.
Sure.
Revenge of some sorts. It does play a little bit into anger, but you do have a motive.
Right.
Total
money.
Oh, money. True.
Insanity.
Total insanity.
Drug-induced insanity.
Sure.
Anything substance-wise that takes off. It takes off part of your sentence.
Right. So you can
accidental.
So let's just say 6. So less than 10. To be fair, less than 10 reasons why you could kill somebody. With diddling kids, it's like
that's how you get off.
Well, yeah, that's just the kind of person you are. That's the something is in my brain that I enjoy this kind of stuff. It's not like, oh, I diddle kids for money. Oh, I do this for because I'm angry. Like those there's no reason. And to get someone from the point of, let's just, for the sake of argument, we are the normal equilibrium, okay? To get someone out of that, out of the range and back to the equilibrium, for that mindset, it's so difficult. Like, you're going to have to,
I think it's impossible. Like, I don't give you a second chance. I don't
want to say it's impossible. I would never give you a second chance, but I live with being a sex offender, live with being labeled a pedophile, live with the shame and the shit that you have to live with. But I think it's okay,
sure. It is possible to.
Well, no. I say, instead of rephrase it like that, say it's not impossible. Because when you say it's
impossible, yeah.
Exactly. Because I think when you say it's possible, it's like, oh, there's a fighting chance, and like there's out of 100 cases you could.
Yeah, the connotation with it. Is
right. Exactly. So I say it's not impossible, but very, 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 very hard. So,
but I think if you murdered somebody because you were drunk or high off your ass, I'm giving you more of a pass than I'm going to give a sober sex offender. I am.
Yeah. No. I don't know.
Or if you were in tough economic times and you tried to rob a convenience store and the clerk pulled a gun on you and you shot him.
Sure.
You were trying to get money for your family. You were trying to do whatever. I'm still giving you more of a pass than somebody who's sober that could harm kids that way.
Yeah. I just it's
looking at. So let's look at it from a societal standpoint.
All right.
We lose people every day. Every day somebody dies. Like, and right now somebody tripped on a skateboard, bumped their head, and they just fucking died. Somebody just died in a car accident. Some old person just bit the bucket.
Man, like you're like on it.
It happens every single day. Sure. Every second of every day it happens. We've as a society we become desensitized to it. We do. We do. Like we watch the news and a traffic accident killed 3 people. Some of us will go, "Oh man, that's horrible," and some of us will go, "I wonder." How Tech is doing in basketball, and then we'll change the channel. Now, if you were to say 3 child molesters found in this neighborhood, I would stay on the channel. Okay. I would, because that happens less often than murders or people dying. And so I myself have become desensitized to it. So I don't see myself ever becoming desensitized to perverts touching kids.
So then let me ask, just real quick, I don't want to super tangent. At what point? And do you think there are specific incidences that have essentially desensitized us to murder? At one point in time?
Yeah, the way we idolize serial killers. But
is this a recent thing or is it?
No, it's not recent. I mean, I think it started in the 60s with the Manson murders.
Okay.
I think that's as far back as I know. I mean, look, we fucking idolize outlaws in the Midwest that robbed trains and killed people. Like we put them in movies. They're heroes in our movies. But if you look at news coverage, whenever Charles Manson had his whole fiasco in Southern California, the news could not get enough of it. Like they gave him interviews inside jail. Like you can look up on YouTube. There were hour-long interviews of Charles Manson just going off on fucking tangents about God knows what, being the ringleader of these murderers.
Wow.
Yeah, and we do that all the time. We do. Like look at there's a show on Netflix called
How to Make a Murderer.
How to Make a Murderer. Look how much we still talk about OJ. We just made a TV show, a great TV show on FX about OJ killing his fucking wife in the trial. Like we do it all the time. And movies too. Movies have played a huge role in desensitizing to us.
Hold on. I think there's a distinct difference between probably like the last 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and then now, because back then I don't think we had. Sure, yes, we did have movies with killing and needless violence and just the total, this I don't this fantasy of being this outlaw. I agree. That has been mainstream in media for a long time. But I think it's only recently that we've just become truly desensitized, where you see a shooting, or you see a murderer, or you see a killer, or you see this violence, because I think back then we were able to make the distinction between, okay, this is a movie, and sure, there are some hyperactive kids that will see something and then they'll want to play cops and robbers in the street with their friends or something like that. Sure, whatever.
That. We all did
exactly that. Right. That's just kids playing and fantasizing.
That's something
whatever.
Instinctual almost.
I think
so.
No, I agree to an extent. I think it's looking at, and again, not trying to tangent on too much, but looking at kind of a kid's psyche, almost trying to emulate what they see, because they get a thrill.
You're also building moral code in there too. You're like trying to get the bad guy.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's something in us that we tend to do. Like,
right.
I know for me, whenever I play video games, I always want to be the good guy.
Yep.
Like, I hate being the bad guy.
Same here.
Whenever I play Star Wars Battlefront, I never want to be the Empire. I never want to be the droids or whatever. I always want to be the good guys.
Yep.
And so,
no, I totally get that. But what were we saying? So I think recently now, when I don't know, I think it is a really good point about the show that you pull up about the How to Make a Murderer or whatever. I mean, that came out like
a couple years ago.
Yeah, at least after 2010. I don't remember the specific date. So, I think it's only recently that because you see some kind of shit happening in the 90s or 80s or whatever in terms of a murderer or something like that. I think that impact that you're talking about, seeing something on the news about a child molester, that impact, I think that would still be there with the people back then in terms of murder. So
yeah, well, I also look at movies, like look at movie violence, like from like, let's take a war movie from the 60s, Bridge of River Kwai or whatever it's called.
Sure.
And it's kind of comical nowadays, the way they show movie violence. Like, everyone is so over the top, like, and they drop to their knees and whatever. And then we look at 1997 when Saving Private Ryan came out, and it was the most realistic war film that any of us had ever seen. And now every single movie after that, if they want to do violence, they're going to do it that way. That's how they roll.
Yeah.
Because they want to be as realistic as possible to set the experience. And I think if you watch that more than enough times, you do become desensitized. Whenever I was on the road trip coming back from Colorado, one of my best friend's dads is the chief of the fire department in Dallas. And I asked him when my buddy was asleep, I was like, hey, how do you deal with that? How do you become desensitized? Or how do you deal with any of that? And he was like, well, after a certain point, you become desensitized. So, like, whenever my first couple months and I saw my first decapitated head on the side of the road, it was a huge shock. And I started building up walls, and I found a way to cope with it.
Right.
But after so many years and so many times seeing it, it's like, it is what it is,
So, I mean,
whatever.
So you're saying that if you just stumbled upon a dead body somewhere, just like...
I'd be freaked out for sure.
Okay.
I'm not saying, but it's the same thing when it doesn't happen to us. You know what I'm saying? So if you see it on the screen, like on the news, somebody got shot or somebody got murdered, we think of it, I bet we process it the same way we process movies. I can guarantee it.
What do you mean?
Like, oh, okay, it happened, whatever. It's not like we're invested at all. It didn't happen to us. But if I was there to witness that murder and I saw, all the blood and whatever I saw,
sure,
yeah, I'd be a little freaked out at first. I hope to God I would handle myself in the regular way that you're supposed to handle yourself.
Right, you're not going to jump up and down and
no,
start
I'm not
screaming,
going to. Oh my God! Oh my God! No, I'm not going to go crazy.
I probably would do that.
But after a few more times where that happened to me, or if I was a police officer and I saw that kind of stuff,
yeah,
at some point I would. That's part of life. It is what it is. Whatever.
Do you think we can ever get to a point where it's not like that?
No.
Where we just...
I think we're too far gone.
You don't...
Because it's already out there. I mean, we're not going to take all the
no.
movies. We're not going to take all the music that promotes that. We're not going to do anything like that. I mean, God forbid we get rid of gangster rap. Where they idolize being the badass and shooting people in the clubs and whatever. And if you take away movies that do the same thing, it's already out there, man.
So do you think it's... Because we're genuinely allowed the freedom of expression, we have that.
I think it comes with a cost, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying that we're not immoral because of it.
Oh, no, not at all.
But we do have a sense of, it is what it is. It just kind of, it's out there, yeah, but it's never going to happen to me, so I'm fine.
That's depressing.
Kind of. But, we got great movies out of it. We got great music.
Sure. Well, okay, but then, do you think then, and I think we've talked about this on like a movie review or something like that, but do you think we could have still these great, awesome movies, action movies and stuff like that, and just kind of the live action, really cool movies without having, any kind of violence? Just be totally like a rated G movie. Do you think we could have like a Oscar nominated? Because I'm pretty sure
an Oscar nominated rated G movie.
Yeah, just like just a regular run of the old mill movie.
No.
Why?
Well, what was the last PG movie to be nominated for Best Picture? Wasn't it Up in 2010 when they ranked the list from they had, instead of 6 movies, it was now 10. I think Up was the last PG movie.
Oh, really? Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's what I remember. I remember Up being nominated for Best Picture. And that was the last one.
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure all the movies that I remember, within the last few years, it's all PG-13 or R movies that are being nominated. So
yeah.
Is it just because to tell a great story and to be this?
Well, you need to get people invested first off, right? And
Sure.
so what better way to get people invested than to create a surreal moment where they're as influenced by what's on the screen as they are in real life. That's the goal.
Oh, so
that's the goal of a movie. It's to touch you in a way that you can perceive it as if it is real life.
So
you want to be imprinted in that movie.
Well, okay, so then is it like it's movies are mimicking what is life, or is
some of them are, but if you watch
influences movies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Some of them are trying to emulate real life.
Well, no, I get that, but I mean, it's like, with these recent, the total recent school shootings and stuff like that, and just this total debate on guns and everything like that. Do you think within the next year or so we're gonna have a movie that just totally is a mirror for that?
For sure. You see that in TV shows already. I
don't know.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite shows is Last Man Standing with Tim Allen.
Okay.
And I'm trying to finish it.
Oh, okay.
But they had a whole point in one of the episodes to talk about why Tim Allen's dad, his Vietnam vet dad, doesn't want a gun anymore.
Really?
Yeah, and it was because he didn't want to shoot anybody again because of what happened in Vietnam. It touched him so much and it fucked him up. But the whole episode was about home protection. Last Man Standing has a very blue collar attitude where the dad is your typical dad.
Sure. That's
almost conservative beliefs, but it's comical. And he's not a dumb dad like you see in every other sitcom where the dad is a fucking degenerate. And so that's the point of the show. It's name a show where the dad's not a retard.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
That's one, yeah. But what was the goal of that show?
I don't know. Why.
It was to show that black people can be successul too. The dad was a judge. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There were definitely undertones of that.
Oh, for sure.
There was an episode where Will and what was his name? Carlton. Carlton. Yeah. Will and Carlton were in jail, and his dad, Carlton's dad, Uncle Phil, had to go in and be the big man on campus, saying you can't do this to these kids just because they're black.
Right.
And
I'm not
the
saying
undertones were there, but name another show then. So let's look at the biggest shows right now then.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Modern Family. Phil is an idiot. But he's hilarious.
Family?
You don't watch Modern Family?
No.
It's really funny.
Okay.
All right, fine. Let's look at every sitcom ever. Let's look at
Roseanne.
Yeah, John Goodman was just a big goof that
he wasn't a goof. Was he a goof? I have a bad memory of that show. Then well, Roseanne was the power.
You're right. She was
figure in that show.
You're right, because the dad was a goof. Look at The Simpsons. Homer's stupid.
Sure.
Family Guy.
Peter's stupid.
South Park. Randy is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's true.
And look at movies. They're painted the same way.
Huh. I never really thought about that. Just how because what I'm thinking. I'm trying to think. Who's the I can't remember. There was an old show, and I can't remember the name of it, and I'll have to think about it later. But it's maybe the who in Sons of Anarchy, the mom.
The
show she was
8
on.
Simple Rules. No, it wasn't.
What
Was it 8 Simple Rules?
I want to say it's like family something. I don't know. I just know the dad was just like the sarcastic guy who was. If you want to go ahead and look it up,
Yeah,
that's
I
fine.
will. Yeah.
I don't remember, but no, I think
I used to love that show.
I honestly the only times I've ever seen that show was whenever I was at a mechanic and they just had it on the TV, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is funny. He's kind of funny and sarcastic, so.
It's a really funny show. Didn't that have what's her name from Big Bang Theory, the blonde girl, Haley Kikuoka or something?
Oh, really?
That
She
was
was
the
on it?
daughter. She was the daughter, the blonde daughter.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I
Yeah.
didn't know any of that.
Katie Seagal.
Is that her name?
Yeah, let me find.
I don't
It
know.
was Married with Children.
Married with Children.
She was on that, but she was on 8 Simple Rules. Yeah, 8 Simple
I have
Rules.
no idea what. Eight
That's the
Simple
one
Rules is.
maybe you're thinking of Married with Children,
I think I'm married.
because that was the
Married
one
with
with the dad or the grandpa on Modern Family.
Oh, okay.
Ted
Maybe.
something.
Maybe, I
No, I'm
don't
thinking
know.
of Cheers. Ted Danson.
I love Ted Danson.
That was a great show.
See, well, Ted Danson's and Cheers. I guess he's not really a dad figure, but
Mm-mm.
okay. Anyways,
But
back
the
to your
old
point.
man in the bar he was the dad figure, and he was whatever his name
That's
was.
true.
He was dumb.
Coach. Yeah,
Coach was dumb.
that's true. But he had a heart of gold.
He did, and that's
So-
usually how they paint dads. Dumb. They mean
But
well,
why is
but
that?
they're just
why
dumb.
is that?
Because one, it's funny. You
Sure.
want
But, like,
to.
why don't you have a dumb mom or something? Or do we have dumb moms?
I can't think of one.
I mean either. I still think of Roseanne, and I know Roseanne's not a dumb mom.
No.
So,
I'm trying to think of Marge is the voice of reason on The Simpsons.
Lois is the voice
Lois
of reason.
is the voice of reason. Sharon is the voice of reason in South Park.
Yeah.
Her and Stan are.
Sure.
Um,
Wow,
let's
is
see.
that just a stereotypical trope of family stuff where the dad is the goof?
the
and-
moms can be badass too,
Well, I mean that's
are smart and powerful.
sure,
that
sure,
was the
and-
point of the
but I
movement.
mean like is that just a like I'm not thinking about it, so this is our stereotypical family that we're
But
gonna
that's
have?
not my stereotypical family. That's
Oh,
not how I
sure,
see it. Like
sure.
I see my stereotypical family as Leave It to Beaver.
I don't know.
That's
I've
what
never
that's
seen Leave It to Beaver.
well it's the or maybe it's not Leave It to Beaver. But old shows that I used to watch with my granddad. The dad worked hard. He would, go to work, and the mom would work hard at home or at her job, and then they would come home, and it was just comedy from this point of view of the kids.
Sure.
That was the comedy.
Okay.
And it's to kids, it's funny when your dad says something stupid, or it's funny when your mom says something, funny to your dad and
Right.
insults him. Like it's just funny. It's changing the power dynamic almost.
Right.
And so I think we use that to a hyperbolic level
Mhm.
in today's sitcoms
Okay. And
because it's funny. It really is funny.
oh sure, and I mean I get that it's relatable and there are
but
many families.
it's not relatable though. It's just
Oh, I
it's something different that we want.
Really?
I think so.
I thought it's just you kind of have it's not necessarily the entire character itself, but it's just this situation that this family
The
was
situation is relatable for sure.
Right.
We all go through the same daily
whether
stuff.
whether you're the mom and then I'm the whoever and then the whatever, everyone's been in that
Right.
situation.
It's just how you portray those characters is different. Like if I was caught cheating on a test, let's say that was the episode,
Sure.
and I was caught cheating on a test, and
Okay,
I would
hold
go
on,
home.
Wait, what's the episode name?
Um,
Blake's Big Mistake.
no, let's go cheat for tat or something.
I like that. Okay, cheat for tat. All right.
And I'm trying to convince my parents that I did nothing wrong and that I was the one
Okay,
that
so
was.
we're starting the episode as this is what's already happened.
No, like
Okay.
let's do like the episode starts with me in class, and then my buddy taps me on the shoulder and says, "What's the answer to number 7?" And I'm like, "Dude, no." I'm like, "No." And then
Right.
the teacher goes, some pompous old lady just,
right.
what is this, Mr. Blake? Let's take a look at this. Are you cheating in my class? And then I get a call home from the parents, and that's where the episode starts.
Oh man. Okay. All right. So in this instance, you're
And in the
you're
episode,
innocent.
in the
Okay.
sitcom world, my dad will say, "Well, what are you doing? Why are you cheating on a test?" And then it'll cut back to him being, alone with the mom, and it's like, I don't know what the big deal is. I used to cheat on tests all the time. And it's like, well, that's why you're you, Jerry, or whatever. We need to teach these kids more. Honey, it's fine, blah, blah, blah. That's how a regular sitcom would go. It's
Sure.
the dad being the cool, aloof, if
Right,
you
right,
will,
right.
dad. And the mom is the one that's strict and about the rules, where...
That's actually and you bring it up. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's also like the Goldbergs. If you've ever seen
Yeah,
that
there you
show.
go, yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of the goofy dad, and then the strict.
The mom will come with the curlers in her hair to
Oh, yeah.
embarrass the kiddos if they
Oh, yeah.
did something wrong. Yeah,
But she's all about the strict rules.
exactly.
I think that show's so funny. Actually,
It looks funny.
Oh, it's.
You showed me one episode, and it was
I don't remember
when
that one was.
the older son was dating a Cowboys fan, and they were
Oh,
they were
yeah.
Eagles fans.
Yeah. Oh, yep.
And then the little kid wanted to go and meet a girl or whatever,
Mhm.
and so he snuck out of the house, and then the mom came with her robe and curlers on and
Mhm.
embarrassed the hell out of him with a
Mhm.
ring or whatever.
Yep. That's a good show. All right.
It
Well,
looks
then,
funny.
and even then, that's like a show that still think has like is still running. So
I'm trying to
then
watch
they
it.
are all portraying these tropes, which is upsetting.
But I don't think that's normal though. Like in my family, it's not how that runs at all.
Sure.
It's the dad and mom are very, very together on everything.
But would you watch a
And-
show then if it was like that?
Yeah, because that would be more interesting to me.
Oh, okay.
Just because that is more relatable. If
Sure.
the dad is a hard ass but smart and can be funny at the same time, and a mom that's much more laid back and rules can sometimes be broken
Mhm.
kind of mindset.
hmm
That's how my family operates.
No, that
And
makes
that
sense.
may not be like every family, but that's very much how mine is.
That's totally.
And it's not
yeah.
painted that way in sitcoms anymore.
Well, that's unfortunate.
It's
We
not
totally-
unfortunate. It is what it is.
Well, I don't know. I feel
It
like
paints a bad picture on dads, I think, because I think dads are just getting the bad bargain of a deal already
well, I
in
mean,
life. But
we have dad jokes, but what about mom jokes? I don't have any mom jokes.
you don't have mom jokes?
Is there mom jokes?
Oh, you mean like I'm
Like-
not saying yo mama jokes.
Oh no,
Difference.
Just like
Well, dad. See, that's what I'm saying.
right. It's like
Dads
knock, who's-
dads think they're funny,
right,
and that's funny to us.
right. I don't know. We
Same
totally,
thing in
we,
sitcoms.
We totally strayed from
What were we
this-
talking about?
the reflection of movies and violence and how
Oh, yeah, okay.
G movies.
Yeah.
Gosh, Blake.
Well, I don't.
Can we just Blake totally derailed everything. He's the reason why this podcast sucks.
Okay, so movie violence. Movie violence.
Blake, just leave. I'll just
Is
do
Is there a way you think society can come back to being unsensitized to?
Well, no, I think because I feel like especially now, and I don't want to sound like these kids are doing bad things, like, but I really do think that we have let's say in the 90s, kind of this aggressive sort of attitude and violence and F authority and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of, let's just, for relative speaking, that was like at 15%. And then 10 years later, we're jumped up to like 25%. And now currently, moving on to almost 2020, which still baffles my mind that we're about to reach that.
Yeah.
Violence and stuff like that being commonplace in movies, music, video games, blah, 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 whatever, books, whatever, everything is like up to like 40, almost 50%, where it's like, you can't have something without violence, or you can't have a regular show or a regular movie or whatever without some sort of violence, aggression, or something like that. And I just think it's just so weird that it's like that, because I'm not necessarily like, I can get mad and I can get, but that's not just that's not a reflection of who I am.
No.
It's not like, oh, I watch this movie because they're angry all the time and I'm angry all the time. Like,
But it does have an influence on you, right? So whenever I think if I were to say where it started, like if you look at the 90s grunge era of music, so Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, all of them.
okay, good
Think
list
about-
of bands.
Think about how their music
Blake.
was. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Think about how their music was so emotionally dark. It was something that it was cutting all the bullshit away from 80s punk hair,
Right.
all that hairspray,
The
80s
Frilly
rock,
Lily,
all that
just-
bullshit. They were
yeah.
cutting it down to music about how whoever wrote the song is feeling from a deep emotional level. And some of it, that was some dark shit, like Nirvana's Rape Me, and that was some dark fucking song.
Right.
And Alice in Chains Nutshell, dark song. Jeremy by Pearl Jam, dark song. And so it's a giving kids a way to express themselves without having to do any of the bad shit, right?
Sure.
It gives us an outlet. It's like whenever I'm feeling shitty, I'm going to listen to this kind of music.
And that's totally fine. And I'm so
I'm
glad
grateful for that.
Exactly. That, and it's a way so that I don't just, punch some random stranger,
Right.
because I know that there's someone who's feeling the same way. I
Right.
totally get that.
It's a blessing, no doubt. But it comes with consequences. So after that kind of music dies away and we're like, oh, I've already heard that song kind of thing, someone has to come in and jump it up a notch. And so you have bands like Disturbed or Breaking Benjamin that come in and they have some harsh fucking lyrics. Listen to Down with the Sickness by Disturbed and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
It's some hard-nosed shit because you're trying to amp it up a little. You're trying to get people to feel more. You're trying to push the boundaries a little bit. Same thing with movies, right? So if we looked at war movies, I'm going to keep going back to war movies.
That's fine. No,
or how about comedy? How about comedy? Think about how tame Caddyshack was compared to
like,
Old School in 2003. Oh my God. Think about how much that jumped, or Step Brothers, fine.
Right.
Think about how the comedy has shifted. How many more cuss words we use. How many? It's a societal shift to where it's no big deal now.
I mean,
why?
Even like, I was just going to say in like more recent than 2003, but like Daddy's Home or whatever, Daddy's Home 1 and 2. Like,
yeah.
Just the style of comedy and just the amount of more aggression that's in these movies. I don't know why we have this jump, and that's what kind of not necessarily freaks me out, but it's just like, and I'll make the same argument about like over sexualization in our market and commercials, TV shows.
Look at how accessible porn is. I mean, good Lord.
I think that's bordering the different realm because
see, I read this article from this psychologist that said it was titled "Your Mind on Porn." Your mind watching porn, and it makes guys not want to fuck anymore.
Really?
It does. Our generation or the generation below us, they're not having sex as much as even the past generations, even the conservative generations were.
Right.
They're not. It takes too much work. Think about how hard it is to get laid if you don't have a girlfriend or whatever. True. Like it's you have to work out. You have to do all this stuff to be, on the market. You have to be marketable.
Hold on. I want to break this up because I think I agree. What you're saying, I agree with. But in terms of what I was trying to get at, I think is different. So I think we can break up this industry between we have the porn industry and then we have just regular marketing like beer commercials.
Every girl has a tank top and shorts and
So the porn, that it is what it is. The pornography, that entire industry knows what it is. It's not trying to be what it's not. Obviously they're not trying to justify what they're doing.
Right.
It is what it is. So I think having the control and understanding of what you're getting into, that's a different story. Whereas if I'm just trying to, watch TV and then all of a sudden this commercial comes on and it's like
chick with double D's is telling me about peanut butter or whatever.
Sure, exactly. Like just this and marketing campaigns, and I've seen really interesting billboards that are like, why are you showing this? And yes, they're not naked. Yes, but it's the scantily clad. It's the very, on the nose references that it's being shoved in my face because I can choose to
get your attention.
Exactly. But I don't like that. There are other ways to get attentions.
You're right, but
no, and I mean I get it. It's easy, it's accessible, it plays immediately to the highest denominator that watches whatever show or TV or whatever they're marketing to. I get it. It makes sense. But like again, have you seen the Heineken commercials with Neil Patrick Harris?
Yeah.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Those are it's just him and the beer
holding
and
beer,
he's making jokes and he's being funny. That's awesome. Like that's just
the thing about Heineken's market, right? It's different than Bud Light's market.
Oh, sure. I do agree. But I think that I think being in 2018 and having the years and years and years and years of being in this industry and understanding what sells, yes, sex sells. That there's a reason why it's a phrase. But I think there's a way where you can twist it and say, oh, instead of let's do a funny commercial. Like, I mean, even there was like the Bud Night or something like that.
Yeah,
and
one of my favorite Dilly Dilly is one of my favorite commercials of all time.
That's a great commercial and it's funny. So I think there's a way where we can. I don't know personally if there's a way or anything like that, but I think we need to have that shift because the aggression and the sex and all of that kind of stuff, it's too much, man.
Is it?
I don't know. I've had this conversation multiple times before with some of my friends where it's just like it's like very on the nose and it's very apparent. And yes, I'm not saying my life is completely ruined because there's too much rap and there's too much aggression and there's too many Michael Bay films
boobs and
yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm just I'm almost tired of it. It's just like come on, let's have something else. Like not okay. not to say we need this exact style of movie, but the uniqueness of it, Birdman.
Mhm.
That the whole cinematography of Birdman was very
Brilliant.
unique. There's so many movies that are not like that, but
Mhm.
could be like that if you put a little more effort into it. And sure, yes, I'm gonna watch the movie that comes out that's super awesome. I'm gonna
You're
watch,
gonna watch
the
Ready
next
Player
Spider-Man.
One.
I'm gonna
You
watch
know?
Ready Player One. You know,
We're gonna watch Infinity War whenever it comes out.
exactly. So I just, speaking of real quick, do you think it's gonna beat the top grossing of the first Avengers movie?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're bringing in so many more markets.
Oh, sure. Of course.
So you're bringing in. So like, look at Black Panther.
Yeah.
It
I don't know
Gro-
financially how
it
well
grossed $400 million the first weekend,
Wow.
opening weekend, the
Okay.
highest grossing film I think since I don't remember. I think
The
since The Dark
Titanic.
Knight or whatever.
Oh, okay, sure.
And in terms of opening weekend, and so you're bringing in that audience of Black Americans that didn't think superheroes were cool, and now
Sure.
you have Black Panther, and it's like, all right, he's now
Superheroes
going to
are
be in
cool.
this movie. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I can be a superhero, and I'm Black, and I'm a kid. Let's
Right.
go see it. Mom,
No,
let's
I
go
feel
see
you.
it. You
Right.
know. So yeah, I think it's going to be huge.
Like without a doubt, no question.
No questions asked. I mean,
Okay.
Brittany and I already bought tickets, so
Oh, okay.
we're ready to
All
go.
right. Well, wow, you're just feeding into the market.
I
Gosh.
am.
Gosh,
If they keep
you're
making-
supporting
if-
an industry.
If Marvel makes a bad movie, then all right, fine. But they haven't made a bad movie yet. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I have
Sure.
not seen one bad Marvel
Oh,
movie.
they've definitely put years and years and years into all of this, and they're gonna have a money train for
Oh,
probably
for-
the next 50 years at least.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think after they start killing off major characters, like we know Iron Man's going to kick the bucket. We know Thor is. Captain America's probably going to be gone. The three big ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what. So they're going to try to entice us with Black Panther, which I did a good job at.
Well, hold on. You don't. Yes, I understand in the comic book trilogy, and we'll get back to the point that I was making before. But
Sorry.
no, it's totally fine. You think in the comic book lineage, yes, these superheroes die, correct? But you don't think they're gonna milk like 3 or 4 more
Oh
movies out of them?
no, because their contracts are up. They're going to kill them off.
Oh, okay.
Like they're going to kill off Robert Downey Jr. They're going to kill off Iron Man. they are.
in the Infinity Wars.
Yeah,
Really?
I guarantee it.
Oh, is that just
Well, look
because it's
at-
based on the I haven't read any.
It's
of the
also
comics.
based on the comics, but it's also because Robert Downey Jr. is fucking expensive. He's $25 million to appear in a movie.
That's true.
I mean,
yeah.
that's what he did for Homecoming, and he had like
Really?
he had like 10 scenes.
Wow. That's a really
And
expensive.
Chris Evans' contract, Captain America's contract, is almost up,
Uh-huh.
and Chris Hemsworth, Thor's his contract almost
Okay,
up.
but like,
And so
what-
they're gonna
what
try
else
to they're gonna try. Well, that's what I'm saying. They're gonna try to keep us going with Captain Marvel, who's coming out, and Brie Larson is playing her. They've got another Guardians of the Galaxy film coming up. They got Spider-Man to look forward to, and Spider-Man's villain in Lineage.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then Disney just bought the rights to Fox,
Mhm.
which means that they have full control over X-Men. They have full control over the Fantastic Four, which hopefully they can finally make a good Fantastic Four
Do you
movie.
think they're gonna do another reboot?
Yeah, for sure. Because if assuming that the deal goes through with the government and everything's fine and everything checks out, yeah, it'd be stupid not to make a Fantastic Four movie that is fucking spot on, made by comic book nerds, directed
Sure.
by comic book nerds, and then bam, here you go.
Because I mean, if you're gonna reboot Spider-Man like 3
They
times,
did with Homecoming.
right? Exactly, right? 3. You had the
Yeah, yeah,
3 yeah.
You had
Tobey Maguire.
Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire. Then you had the Andrew Garfield, the Amazing Spider-Man,
Right, and then
and now you have Tom Holland.
I really
who-
like Tom Holland.
Yeah, and he's our Spider-Man when we were kids. That's who Spider-Man is to us.
That's true.
If you're a comic book fan, that's who he is.
Right.
He's a fucking kid.
Well, I mean, I think Drake Bell is the best Peter Parker on the Spider-Man animated show, but you know whatever.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. Like he was a kid in that show too.
Oh no, sure, for sure.
He was a high school or college student in that show.
You're right, right. No, I feel you.
But yeah, I think they have room if they want to. Rebooting X-Men is going to be hard. It's going to be
I don't
hard
think
to
they're
do.
gonna reboot it.
I think they will, but they're just going to have a tough time because I think it's
You
mainly
really think
because
they're
of
gonna try and reboot X-Men?
yeah.
Why?
Because think of what you have. You have this huge world
Patrick
of.
Stewart. And
Well,
you
no,
have-
that's what I'm saying. You're going to have to find, like Hugh Jackman said, he's never playing Wolverine again.
really.
And I think Hugh Jackman is the best superhero brought to the big screen ever. I think Wolverine, I don't think anybody else could have played Wolverine the way Hugh Jackman did. I
Agreed.
don't think anybody else could play any superhero as well as he did.
agreed.
And so you have this huge world that's going to be hard for sure. And I think X-Men's going to be kind of touchy because of what Hugh Jackman did.
Right.
And because of the newer X-Men films like Days of Future Past and X-Men Dark Phoenix is coming. Have you ever seen those? They're good. But they're not Marvel good.
The last X-Men movie I saw, I think, was 3.
Last Stand,
Maybe.
where
Maybe 2.
Jean dies.
Well, then
Wolverine-
maybe 3.
Hugh kills Jean
maybe
Grey.
2. I don't remember. No, okay, I lied. I saw the X-Men Origins Wolverine. I saw that one.
Why?
I liked it. Oh my gosh, I enjoyed that. I saw it like 2 times.
Really? Did
maybe
you see
third
Logan?
time? No, I didn't.
Logan is fantastic.
Okay.
It's the first R-rated Wolverine.
Oh, is it really?
Oh, dude.
Wait,
it's
wasn't there
fucking
one?
badass.
Wasn't there a movie where he went to Japan or something like that?
Yeah, that wasn't rated R.
Which one was that one? That was
Just X-Men Wolverine.
Oh, X-Men Wolverine.
Yeah. It was the Wolverine, I think.
I think I saw that one.
And then you had X-Men Origins Wolverine. Then you had the Wolverine, and then you had Logan to complete the Hugh Jackman standalone trilogy.
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool.
Logan was fantastic.
Okay.
And if you kind of read the subplot the subtext that's going into it about the tiredness of superhero movies.
Oh yeah.
It's even more brilliant.
Even better. Okay.
Even more brilliant.
All right.
But yeah, so I don't know. Movie violence, don't get me wrong. I love it.
Yeah.
I do.
Sure.
Because all of my favorite movies have some dark violence in them.
No,
The Departed, No Country for Old Men.
It tells a compelling story, and it shocks you with this isn't just a rinky-dink little story. It's like this is a real thing that could happen in real life.
Right.
I just think it would be really nice to see something along the lines of, and I guess it doesn't have to be G. It's just
look at The Martian. Did you see The Martian?
No.
No?
I was reading it, and then I was like, I'm going to finish the book before it comes out, and then the movie came out.
Well, the movie was fantastic, PG-13.
Sure.
But I guess it kind of wasn't an action movie. It was kind of sci-fi.
Sure.
But I don't know. Have we had an action movie that's been PG? That's a good action movie that's been PG? I can't think so, because violence immediately ups you up to PG-13.
If anything, an action movie, maybe an animated Disney or Pixar movie.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe. If
maybe Wreck-It Ralph or whatever the fuck. But if
it's a pretty big action movie.
It is. It's huge. But I don't know. Like, if you're going to make a movie, you want to keep it PG, you can't have over the top action in it. You just can't.
Well, sure.
Because the rating agency will cut you down.
Right.
But the question is, can you make a good movie with action in it that isn't over the fucking top?
Right.
I think you can.
You think you can?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it has to be subtle. Like, so think of the action in No Country for Old Men that we saw.
Yeah.
There are a couple of scenes where it's kind of fucked up.
Very scary.
But also the huge scenes that change the course of the film, you don't see the violence. And that may be part of the director, but like when Llewellyn gets shot at the end, you don't even see him get shot. You just see the truck of Mexican cartel runners driving away.
Sure.
You don't see... Yeah, okay. But I don't know.
No,
you can create a subtext that says, "Oh my gosh, this person died with this action."
Oh, for sure. So then, my question then, and just the last question to wrap it up.
All right.
By the way, welcome back to the One More Podcast.
Oh my
God. 10 years from now, we'll go a little further out. 20 years from now,
okay.
Do you think movies are going to get worse in the sense of the gratuity, or the same, or
I think movies are already getting worse.
Okay. So then your answer would be in 20 years we're going to have like...
Because we're getting towards Idiocracy, and I truly believe that. Did you ever see that movie?
No.
It's the plot of the movie is these two people were frozen in time, and they awake like 200 years into the future.
Okay.
And everyone's fucking retarded. Like
really?
The number one movie that year was called Ass, and it was literally just a butt farting.
Really?
And that won like 11 Oscars. That's the whole point of the show.
Sure.
Of the movie is everyone is so dumb.
Wait, when did this movie come out?
Oh, that was early 2000s.
Really?
Yeah.
I would love
it was the same guy that did Office Space.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
it's
okay.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I think it's
All right.
hilarious.
Then I'd have to definitely check that out.
But like, I think that's what we're getting to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, our comedy is getting kind of bland.
Well, is that just because we're trying to pander to the largest market, or just
no?
because
We're running out of ideas.
Oh, okay.
I really do. Think about all the reboots, dude. Think about how Disney has jumped on the live action animated movies now.
Well, hold on. I think there's an argument to be made about that.
Okay.
And I'm going to relate it to the video game industry because over the course of time, you develop these IPs or intellectual properties, right? And you build these. When you're starting off with something, it's okay to make mistakes. It's like, this game wasn't that great. Let's make another one because we have the time and resources to develop it.
Yeah.
Same thing with movies. Well, I don't know about in the beginning stages, but anyways, as you're growing and growing and growing, and your industry is larger, your company is larger, you're now hiring a lot more very, very expensive people. Are you willing to take a risk on things? To instead of, hey Blake, I've got this brand new script for a new idea of a new thing that it pushes the boundary and it could revolutionize the entire movie industry. Whereas you don't know how much money this. I'm going to say this is got $100 million.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how much money this is going to make.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm going to rely on shoe-in, no doubt this is going to make money.
Exactly. So, oh, well, hey, and they just forget the example, but Ghostbusters. We're going to reboot Ghostbusters because 1 and 2 did so well. There's a cult following. There are fans. They've always wanted a new Ghostbusters, blah, 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 blah. So let's reboot it and resell it out to the public.
Yeah, no doubt we're going to make money on it.
Exactly. Like, and I mean, again, this technically was a poor example because I don't think it made that much money, but
it made enough. It got its budget back.
Sure, exactly. It paid for it and, and then some a little bit. So I think it's just that idea where I'm not willing to take, and I mean, I guess this plays to just the human insecurity is I'm not willing to take a risk because I know that I can make money a different way.
Right, but
I think that's why we're seeing reboots now because
right, and
it's easy money.
I think that's wrong. I do because I think think about the movies that took risks.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at did you ever see Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise?
Was that the one where they kept respawning?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was fantastic.
Right.
I thought it was one of the best action movies that I'd seen in years.
Uh-huh.
Look at John Wick.
Yeah.
That was completely original. I mean, it went off of the regular badass tropes of action movies, but it was there and it was new. It was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Look at whenever Christopher Nolan in 2005 when he brought back Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, it's the same hero, but it's new and it's different, and that's what gets people in this. That's what made it amazing.
Sure,
it wasn't the same old bullshit Batman that we saw from the 90s.
True,
it was different.
True.
Look, Birdman was completely
I mean,
original. There are a whole bunch of other original scripts out there, but studio will not take the risk, and I think that's wrong.
Well, no, you're right. So, so then is it because of a lack of ideas now in 2018?
Yeah.
Or is it?
I think it also is a lack of ideas.
Okay.
I do. So, like, look at movies nowadays. Like, how many movies have a twist in them, like The Usual Suspects?
I don't know. I
none.
I also think it's just because twist movies are hard to make.
They are hard to make, yes, and it's hard to get right. Fine. Let's look at how studios used to rely on movies like Gladiator, the big war movies where you had a huge expensive set pieces and it was, budget was out of the wazoo because they knew they would make money. We don't see those anymore. We don't. True. We have to have something.
I do agree. We don't see a lot of those because I think the last one that I heard was the
Hacksaw Ridge was the last one.
Oh, I was gonna say the Clash of the Titans or something, or not Clash of the Titans. What wasn't it the Egyptian one where they like it's the
Gods Among Men or Gods
something
of Men,
like that?
Gods of Egypt, something like that.
Wasn't that like super big budget, whatever?
Yeah,
ginormous?
and it flopped completely.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's why because people don't want to take risks on these big budget stuff.
But I'm not a proponent for indie films. You just don't get them kind of indie films. I enjoy my big budget action movie. I think they're badass. They're awesome. It's
Pacific
fun.
Rim, like I'm so ready for that.
I'm sure that I never saw the first one either, but
it was just a nice standalone beat 'em up machine
monster versus machine kind of thing.
It was
there you go. Yeah,
turn your brain off and enjoy
it was fun and ingest the mush.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, whatever. But I do recognize that when a film comes along that's original and different, and it's not getting the attention that it needs.
No, yeah.
And it's just a reality. Like Whiplash. Like, I can't imagine.
Did it really not do well?
Can't imagine how that thing went at the box office. I guarantee it didn't do that well. Because it was low budget too. It was a low budget movie.
That's true.
And it just so happened to be something different. And oh wow, this is amazing.
Right.
And sometimes you have those specks of light that come across, and that's why you enjoy film. It's not for the big budget bullshit. It's for those needle in a haystack movies that you can enjoy and ponder.
Over excessive violence.
Yes.
Even
yes.
Whiplash had abusive yelling.
It did.
Screaming.
It did. Yeah.
So I guess we're just never. You don't think there's going to be, just to wrap it up? You
No.
don't think there's ever going to be a time where there's no less, very very less action? Because I feel like it was back in the day. It was like, you had like, these select movies, and it's like those were the bad movies because they're all rated R. Not as bad as just like, don't see them.
Content-wise, you don't want your kids to see
Right,
them.
exactly. But now it's like, it's just more. It's like quadrupled in size.
Oh yeah, my dad was
size.
showing me war movies when I was, in elementary school.
Well, that's not what I'm trying to talk about. I'm just saying it's like from going from a small little group of movies that were rated R and rated the super intense.
It's all going to be
because like even now, because what PG? The reason you have PG-13 is you can say the F word like what once or twice. Just one time. Like I feel like that's just common now in some movies. It's just PG-13, and then they said the F-bomb because we have to have the F-bomb in there because we have to just shock the people.
Yeah, Dunkirk had that one F-bomb. Did you ever see Dunkirk?
No.
It was awesome.
Was that with the boy from One Direction?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it was great.
I heard he did pretty well in that.
He did, yeah. It was a great movie.
Okay.
We'll have to watch that.
Sure. But anyways, that is the end of the One More Podcast. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And sorry we didn't do an introduction. That was very bad of me. I'm a horrible person. I should just jump off a building.
I'll make a movie about it.
I'll make a movie. Forgetfulness. This is the title of the movie. What were we talking about? Anyways. That is it. Thank you so much for everybody for listening. Leave a like, subscribe, do something, comment, talk to me, send me a message. If you hated it, let me know. If you liked it, well, don't tell me about it. If you hated Blake, please do let me know. And anyways, everyone have a great night, day, or whenever you're listening to it.
And that is the end of the show. I really hope you enjoyed it. Just remember, this thing is sponsored by Haven Cottage Event Center, and I am making up the words as I sing this song. But make sure to give them a call or an email if you want to do something that is small or medium. And that's about it. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba.
This is the end song. It is now over.